Welcome to this 365 Freedom session. Today, we're breaking down how to stop writing when you're tired and start matching your content creation to your highest energy windows so your marketing actually works. You know the grind. You're wearing 12 hats, putting out fires, serving clients all day long, then the dust finally settles and you remember, oh right, I still need to market this thing, I need to post, I need to send that email. So you force it out. And the results? Well, they kind of speak for themselves, don't they? Be honest with me here. Have you ever written a post or an email, read it back, and just thought, wow, this sounds completely dead? It's flat, it's sterile, it's boring. I sit down with these brilliant, incredibly charismatic business owners all the time, but their marketing sounds like it was written by a robot. Listen, if that's you, hear me out. Your dead-sounding copy is not a lack of skill. You don't need to go buy another expensive copywriting course. What you're experiencing is simply a symptom of writing at the exact wrong time of day. You're paying what I call the leftover hour tax. It is this heavy, completely invisible price you pay when you force yourself to write ads or posts after a long day of client work. Think about how this usually goes. You give your absolute best, sharpest energy to your clients, your team, and your operations. Then, at 5 p.m., or maybe 9 p.m., when your brain is totally fried, you stare at a blinking cursor and demand brilliance. It just doesn't work that way. Squeezing content creation into those exhausted evening hours completely destroys your marketing. Because here's the harsh reality. Dead energy equals dead copy. The secret nobody mentions is that your audience doesn't just read your words, they actually feel your energy behind them. If you're writing from a place of sheer exhaustion, people sense it. It feels heavy, like an obligation. One of our mastermind members was spending 3 hours every single night trying to force out emails. He was totally drained, so his message felt drained. Zero response. Brute force writing fails because people connect with energy, not just information. We really need to shatter this myth that content creation is just a discipline problem. Your best content isn't a product of discipline, it's a product of your highest energy hours. We're taught to just sit there, stare at the keyboard, and force it until the words come out. But as we just saw, that brute force approach is exactly why so much marketing feels flat and dry. You cannot discipline a tired brain into being charismatic. You just can't. You have to align your tasks with when you naturally have the juice. Look at the old way of doing this. I was working with this copywriter who was totally stuck in a rigid 9-to-5 mindset. She thought she had to work a traditional corporate schedule to be a real professional. So every afternoon around 5 p.m., she'd sit down to write her own stuff. And every day, she'd just stare at a blank screen. The copy she forced out was sterile and totally lacked her natural spark. We tracked her focus for a few days and realized her mind was sharpest first thing in the morning. So we made one simple shift. We moved her writing to 7 a.m. And you know what happened? 45 minutes. Once she moved her writing to 7 a.m. when her brain was actually awake, she knocked out an entire week of high-impact content in 45 minutes. What used to be hours of agonizing, miserable work every single afternoon suddenly just flowed right out of her. 45 minutes. Because she stopped fighting her own internal clock. When you create during your natural peaks, the words carry immediate power and it takes a fraction of the time. This brings us to a philosophy you need to adopt right now. State over schedule. Shifting your focus to your mental state instead of some rigid clock is the only sustainable way to produce marketing that feels alive and impossible to ignore. Stop letting a traditional schedule dictate when you're allowed to be creative. You need to fiercely protect your most valuable asset, which is your creative energy. When you actually create during those peak energy windows, everything changes. Your voice instantly commands attention. You don't have to fake it. Your natural charisma just shines through effortlessly. Your audience feels that authentic, vibrant energy, and they are drawn to it. And honestly, the absolute best part? You stop trying to sound smart, and you start sounding real. When you aren't completely exhausted, your natural humor and authority come right through. You finally write the way you actually speak. So, how do we actually do this? It's remarkably simple. Step 1, identify your peak energy window. Step 2, block out a single hour for creation. Step 3, automate or delegate the rest of the busy work. I was talking to a consultant recently who was completely drowning. She was committed to posting every day, but tried to write at 5 p.m. after dealing with clients. She was starting to resent her own business. I had her run an experiment. We found her peak window was 8 a.m. on Tuesdays. We blocked out that single hour, and boom, she wrote a full week of killer content right then and there. If you need undeniable proof of how well this works, let's look at a founder in my network.
She was getting almost zero traction on social media, none, because she was forcing herself to write at 4 p.m. after a brutal day of client calls. We shifted her writing block to 9 a.m., her absolute peak energy window, and her engagement literally doubled, just like that. Why? Because her true, authentic voice finally showed up. She didn't change her strategy at all. She just changed her schedule. It all boils down to this undeniable truth. Stop forcing brilliant ideas when your brain is completely checked out. Your marketing is only as powerful as the energy you put into it. So if your content isn't converting right now, stop tweaking your strategy, stop trying to find the perfect hook or format, change your schedule first. Stop writing when you're running on empty. It is honestly the absolute only logical way to fix your marketing and get your message heard.
So I'm going to leave you with this. Are you ready to stop running on empty and finally get your business seen? It is time to drop the leftover hour tax for good. Find your peak window, protect it fiercely, and just watch what happens to your engagement. If you're ready to align your energy and your assets, come join the conversation on our Facebook page and visit 365freedom.online. We'll help you stop sounding tired and start sounding like the authority you actually are. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next session.